All right, so we are live and we have National Scrapbooking Day Marathon going on. So I volunteered to kick it off this morning. I'm on the East Coast. It's only 9 o'clock here. Our West Coast people, it's 6 a.m. I wonder if we have anybody here. And I know we have a ton of international people, so thank you for coming over today. Prima has all kinds of activities for you today. We have a marathon going on. Carrie's in charge of it. And as soon as I'm done teaching, I'm going to be doing some boyish kind of grungy layouts. I'm going to pass the baton to her, and she's going to teach an amazing album. And then all day long, we're going to keep passing that baton over and doing different projects. Once Carrie is done, we're going to take the party over to the Prima headquarters. So that's going to be really fun. Carrie and I are on the East Coast, so you know we volunteered to do the first two shows so they wouldn't have to get up so early. And then we're going to hop over to Prima, and it's going to be fun over there. It's going to be in the studio that we have set up there, and they're going to have prizes and stuff. So lots of fun. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon and good evening to our other people in other countries. All right, so I might just scroll down and start because we have a busy hour and a half to get all this done, and I think I'm going to focus on the techniques. I may not finish each of the layouts, but let me just grab my other layout. This is the one we're going to start with first, and this is a really grungy layout, and then we will switch over, and this one's a bit brighter. It kind of fits his personality more, and this uses pan pastels and stencils, and then it really focuses on chipboard, and we'll make a cute little banner up here. So two very different looks to fit my two very different older boys. Isn't that how kids are? They're so different. You can't believe they have the same parents and they live in the same house. All right, do we have any questions before we start? I am recording. And these shows, if you're not able to catch the whole thing or you're going to miss one today, some of you are going to sleep shortly in Australia and New Zealand, these will all be recorded so you can come back and watch them at any time. And I do want to point out our teachers, most of them are involved in our blog hop, so they will have their projects on their blog and you'll get more details and stuff. So make sure you hop over to prima.typepad.com and check out our international blog hop today. We also have a prize I just posted on Facebook. So like us on Facebook and enter for that National Scrapbooking Day prize. All right, so let's get going because I'm all dressed up today. I don't normally scrapbook like this, but as soon as I'm done, I have to hit graduations. Anybody else got people graduating today? So I don't have anyone graduating today, but I do next weekend. My daughter graduates from college. So we have so much going on today in our family. It's one of those crazy days where you wish you had 4 parents helping. All right, so this is the finished layout. We will get as much done as we can on this, and then we're going to hop to the techniques on the other one. So let's get moving. I am using our LadyBird papers today. This is actually a very bright springy line, and I will show you the products as I use them so I don't waste a lot of time in the beginning. But as you can see, this line has a lot of turquoise and oranges and yellows. I love it for these boy layouts because it also has some neutral chevrons that you can use. And what I'm going to do is just let me trim off the bottom of this LadyBird paper. I'm clunking around here. This one is called Terrace. It's 845407. And I know Carrie's the master of our product list. She makes sure we get those to her. And if you have any questions on where to find these products, she has the goods. She can help you out. We have a lot of online stores that carry our products, as well as your local scrapbook store. So if you don't have it locally, I mean, go there first. If you can't find it, Carrie will link you to some of our online. All right, so we're going to start with just this turquoise chevron paper, and I'm going to try and do this upside down All right, if I mess up, it's okay. So here's a stencil. This is from the Sunrise Sunset line, and it's only a 6x6, but I love it because it's perfect for running a pattern just down the center of your layout. So I'm going to use this, and you know what, Carrie, I didn't write the number down for this, but Sunrise Sunset Stencil by Finnabair. She is amazing, Anna, and it's one of my favorites. Now, a little tip I have, I never use the front of my stencil so it can look cleaner. I always use the back, and look at that. Okay, it's really messy. All right, and we are going to use gesso. Now, for this technique, you could use light modeling paste or even acrylic paint, but this gesso is amazing. My goal with this technique is to have a very clear, distinct design from the stencil, and I want it really white. And the modeling paste is not going to be really white, and the paint is not going to hold up as much as gesso will. In the Studio Gesso by Ranger, it's Claudine Helmuth, it is so thick and amazing. So I just want to show you. Look at that. It's really good. All right, professionals use a palette when they use gesso, and I'm just not that professional, I guess. So I'm going to use just a hotel room key. I love doing these because they're flexible and they let me bend it all over, and I can throw them away when I'm done. So it's kind of like reusing it. So we're just going to spread the gesso on, and you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. This is a boys page, right? If we go outside the lines or don't get it perfect, it's going to work even better. So just do it quickly, and once we get down here to the center, our photo is going to be covering this up, so we don't actually need to do this part. I think my stencil's crooked. That would just be typical for today. No worries. It'll all be okay in the end. Nobody's going to measure it when I'm done. All right, so I have my first screen done. I'm going to pull that up. It actually looks almost perfect. You see how textured and thick that gesso is? Now, if you want to be really, really perfect, you could overlay the design and match it up like that so you continue it perfectly. Trying to stay on screen here. Okay? It'll flatten a couple of the designs in the center, but it will bring your design so it will look seamless. And I think that will work with most stencils that have that continuous pattern. Alright, the big thing about gesso that I hate is the cleanup. Is that like the worst? I never get it cleaned up fast enough, and it dries on my stencils. But that's why I use the back side. Okay. A little bit more right here because this part will show on the bottom of your layout. And then because it's so flexible, you just scrape this off and put it all back. And you want to wash your stencil right away. Okay, I don't have a sink. I actually run right to my nearby sink. So what I do is, if you don't have a sink nearby, oh, you know what? I need to do one more little pass at the bottom. Let me just do that real quick. If you don't have a sink nearby, you can just put it on some wet paper towel and make sure it just stays covered until you can get it cleaned. And that'll work too. Alright. Didn't want to forget that little bottom piece there. There we go. I think we're done. And if you see, I went outside the lines a little tiny bit here and there. Up here. That's okay. It's just going to make it look even better. Let me just spray a little bit of water on my stencil to keep it wet till I can clean it. And we'll scoot that out of the way. Any questions on the gesso and the stencil? It's by Ranger. That's my favorite gesso. And the stencil is a Prima stencil from the Sunrise Sunset. And oh my goodness, I need to be careful because I'm all dressed up. And gesso's a little messy. All right, did we all get that okay? All right, normally you gotta let this dry. You can zap it with a heat gun if you want, if you're really impatient. I already did a step out for you, so this is my dry section. And what I'm going to do is, it's just going to save us a couple minutes today so we can do all the fun stuff. We are going to start stamping. So, oops, sorry, I didn't have my sound down and it just started playing a video. What in the world? Let me just show you the original again. I stamped on this in a couple places, going from the lower left to the upper right. Because it's in such a blocked design, I wanted it a little grungy, so we're going to do a diagonal stamp with some of them. So you want to take, I use black and brown ink. I know in the fashion world you probably shouldn't mix them, but this is scrapbooking and we kind of make our own rules, don't we? And then the stamps I want to use, this really cute, I call this my little keyboard. It's from the Sunrise set. And then this is probably one of my favorites. It's from the Engraver set, and it has all these different words mixed in. It's really good for boys. Let me just feel it off. It has original, respect, wonderful, direct. Just is a really cool, grungy, mixed media kind of stamp. And then later we will use some of these label stamps that have negative and positives, which are really cool. I love that. From the LadyBird line. And I have one more stamp. We will be using washi tape stamps. These have their own little wood handle. I love these. So if you have masking tape or cotton tape, Prima makes cotton tape, you buy these stamps and you can make your own washi tape. It's really cool. And try one little tip with this. Instead of just stamping normal ink, you can take embossing ink and emboss a design and then spray it and make your own textured washi tape. So I wish I could do that today, but when I did this layout, all I did was just grungy stamping. So, and I'm not going to use stamp block, and there's a reason for that. You can if you want really perfect prints. I don't want it perfect, plus I am really not a perfect stamper. So this fits me really well. So we're just going to ink the typewriter part. And again, I'm going to go lower left to upper right. And this is such a bold stamp. Let me just see where I placed it last time. That I'm only going to do it twice. See how bold that is? It really shouts out. So because of that, I like it. It directs your eye to that part of the layout. That's why we're going to do it just twice, and we're going to place it up here and down there so that we get your eye moving across the page. All right. And then so I probably could stamp upside down. Would that be easier for you guys? Okay, so we have that. We're just going to go ahead and get that word stamp. And again, I mixed this with brown and black. So let me just go ahead and get some of this put in here. And what I like about this stamp is you can just place it flat down. Let me do that in the middle and just show you. This will be covered up. I love it flat down, but you get those straight edges, and I don't want that right now. So when I'm stamping, I'm going to curve it just a little to get an uneven edge. And then you don't get that harsh line in there. And you can stamp multiple times. That will give you a really nice grungy look on your layout. So just ink it once and stamp it 2 or 3 times to get a really cool mixed look with different shades. All right, I think that looks good. Look how busy it is already. I keep going off screen. I'm so sorry. Here we go. Carrie's going to have to holler at me if I keep going off screen, right? Okay, so next what we want to do is we have most of the stamping done, and we can add more if we have little blank spots later. We want to start building the photo mat. And what I did for this, and this is a great way to use your leftover papers. So I already printed out on my original, I did one of my son Braden, who's 16, but I don't want two layouts of him that are the same. So I did my son Jonathan. He's 13. I think he'll love this layout. So I just printed out a picture. It's 3 by 4, and I just cut it with pinking shears to add kind of a fun edge to it. Mat it on scrap paper, and I am using different LadyBird papers. So this one is called Cottage, and I know it has the cutest little graphics, but I didn't use those. But these are great patterns, the neutral part for boys' pages, and that's why I picked this line. This has a really nice turquoise, and look at that chevron on the back. I love that one. That one is called Birds of a Feather. And then here's another, this one I used a lot on this layout because it just has the neutral. Not this side, but that would be so cute for another project. And this one is My Lady. So what I'm going to do is just take pieces of these 3 papers and start layering them to make a photo mat. And we're going to stamp on it and make it all grungy. Okay, so every time I did a layer, let me just move that off, I added a little bit of stamping to it. And don't be afraid of getting a little bit of ink on your photo. It's okay. And I stamped off of the page. So just go ahead with your stamps and add a little bit here and there. I don't want too much, but we're going to grunge it up. And if you are stamping on the photo, you probably should use like an archival ink that is perfect for those glossy surfaces. I did use Distress. It'll dry, it'll be okay. Alright, next we are going to mat that on. Let's take this paper. So we're going to use the blue solid, which was My Lady. And I didn't measure anything. And this is the best way to scrapbook. So the picture's 3 by 4, just mat it. And then I just set that right on top of the paper and cut it out to fit, making it a little bit wider so that you have a little bit of room to stamp on. So actually let's just do right here, and we want to go let's see, how long do we want to make it? We want to make it a little bit extra long so that we can add a title at the bottom. So I know I didn't measure. Let me see how long that is real quick. It's 7.5 by 4.5. You just want to make it a little bit bigger than your photo, like this, okay? And I am going to pop this up on foam, but first I want to add a little bit of stamping. So every layer is going to have just a bit of stamping on it. And again, use any color inks. Use a little bit of brown, a little bit of black, and have some fun with the stamps. Okay, I keep placing my stamps down and I keep losing them. You get all these layers out here of product, and then I lose them. Okay, that's good. So you want to do this with every layer. Just stamp a little bit, and then let's throw some foam squares on here. How you guys doing? I work so intently sometimes and focus, I don't even look at the chat. So if I'm missing a question you guys have, just have Carrie text me, okay? This is a great way to get your stamps out. You know, I don't use them enough either, but it adds so much texture and so much dimension without really bulking up your page. And for a guy's page, it's like perfect. So we're just going to set that on there, and already we've got a kind of a nice mess going, don't we? And one other product, and this is great for guys' pages too, is our washi tape. We have one for every single line, and this one, I really like this one. It has the different words on there, and I'm just going to pull them apart and put them here and there. Okay, Johnny's a big hug giver. This is going to be perfect for his page. So we're going to put that up here. Just run that edge over. And maybe one more down here. Smile big. He does smile, even though he's not in this picture. That's a good reminder to him. The kid just never looks at the camera. Shocked I got one with him. For every one that he's looking, I have like 10 where he's looking at everything else around him. So, a little washi tape, a little bit of stamping, and we are ready for another layer. Let me see what paper I want to do. Okay, we want to do the chevron. So, if you like your layouts really neat and organized, you could just set this right on here and mat it. What I did is I actually cut pieces out and stapled it to it. And I'll show you on the original, it's pretty messy. Let me see if I can get that zoomed in a little bit. See the chevron? I just cut pieces out and stapled it to the back of this matting and kept layering it around there. If you have scrap pieces of paper, that is a great way to do it, and a stapler is going to give it kind of a urban grunge look. If you're going to staple, use the little tiny attacher because you're going to get really cute. The staples won't be overwhelming on the page. So I think I'm going to do the simple mat like that, but I am also going to cut a couple pieces out just because I want to show you how I stapled those on there. So you just don't cut straight. All I did was I cut strips like this. With a pinking shears, you can also go straight. And what I did is I overlapped them into the corner like that. Okay, I know I'm not working upside down here. I gotta remind myself to do that. So you want to overlap them in the corner and then get your tiny attacher, which is a Ranger stapler, and just add a couple staples here and there. Okay, and that's what I did all around the page, or around the photo mat, just to kind of give it an urban grunge feel. Of course, my staple doesn't work the one time I need it to. And just layers. So you could make this really cool with a bunch of different papers. Let me just get one more on the bottom. And then I'll put it on my cheater mat that I created. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll skip that one since I just ran out of staples. Alright, so what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and glue this on here and see how those rough edges kind of pop out and give it that nice, dirty, boyish look. It's a little masculine, it's a little fun, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's what this page is all about. Because my fingers are so messy right now, it just totally fits what a boy does. Okay. Let's get this on here, and if I was going to do it all the way around, I would cut a couple more of these papers and keep stapling them around to get that really fun look going. And then, so let's just pretend I did that, and then we're going to mat it one more time. So we went the tan to the light blue to the tan chevron, and we want one more light blue. So we can take this piece and just flip it over. Let's see if I have enough in here. So this is all about using your scraps up. Oh, this will work. We will just cover up a little bit of that bird. It's perfect. Let me glue that on. No, we're not measuring this at all, okay? We're just start with your 3x4 photo and then just start layering, getting a little bit bigger each time. And then all I will do is cut around this. And you know what? I think I'll just use my scissors. And you'll get a really fun textured edge on this. And let's switch out. We can go straight and use the pinking shears on two sides maybe, and the straight on two. Alright, how's that? Whoops, off camera again. Okay, so you guys know how to layer paper, but this is a great way to use a couple, just two tones, and just keep layering them so you get more and more texture built up on your page. Alright, now what we're going to do is go ahead and glue that down, and I have another step out. I love to sew on my pages, and even on the boys' pages, it looks, I love it. And hoping the camera can catch, all I did was just stitch randomly on all four sides, top, bottom, and the two sides. And this leftover string, you know, it's really trendy to wad that up and glue it right there and make a little string wad. We need to come up with a name for that. Carrie, what do you think? I don't think string wad's gonna cut it. So that's what they're doing though. They just wad up the extra thread and they glue it right there on the page. It looks really cool. Well, I think it looks really cool. Let's see. We want about right here. So we're sitting with this right now. And I think we need a little bit more stamping on it. Let's take our labels. I know for sure, where did I put that label last time? We want to take a couple of these labels and just to have some fun on the page. Maybe stick one. Here, I'm cheating again. I'm just rolling it and stamping, and I know I probably got a little bit of the other pieces, but it works, and it's a little grungy, and it works really well for this kind of page. Let's do one more down here. Oops, and I'm totally off camera. Sorry about that. One more down here at the bottom, and I might just run a little bit here and there. No wasting this ink that I put on there, right? And then maybe a little bit of brown. Let's do that original stamp again. I really love this one. I think it looks so great. Just want to make sure we got all our paper edges stamped on a little bit. Okay, I think we're good. The stamping look good. We don't want way too much, just all the layers stamped. Okay, now the rest is really fun. We're going to embellish. So the first thing we want to do is add a little title down here. And what I used was the engraver chipboard pieces. Okay, so I got to apologize up front. I've used a couple of them. So it really doesn't matter what you pick. Just pick one of the bigger ones. And let's see. Let's go with this one. I know it says sweet, but we can, and Johnny is really sweet, but I think what I'm going to do is cut it and just put half of it down. So I really need my Tim Holtz scissors right now, but of course they are not here. I think my kids borrowed them. What's with your kids and your husband taking your scissors? So just cut that in half, and we're going to tuck this one right here. All right? And all that's going to do is just provide a base for us to put his age on there or some kind of title. So our chipboard is adhesive backed. And now I have another cute little piece I can use later and tuck it in like that. I won't use it on this layout, but I can tuck it in on another one. Okay, so on the original layout, I used our metal numbers. Let me just show them to you real quickly. We have 2 different sets in our Sunrise Sunset mechanical line. These are so great for adding your kid's age or the year on a page. My son Braden, let's show you the original. He's 16 and that metal just looks really fabulous. It's 2 different shades, and the copper and the brass. It just fits in so well with the other embellishments. So Johnny's 13, so let me go ahead and pull out the 1 and the 3. Let's see how this looks. Carrie will tell me if I get off camera again. Okay. I love that. Another option, and we have the little ones too. These would be great in Project Life. I am so saving that for that. A couple other options are our metal tags to put on the layout. And I really thought for the age, we have these wooden buttons. Wouldn't those be cool on Guy's layout? I mean, again, they have the 1 and the 3. I just love them. I think they're so cool, and I think they'd look really good on this layout. Okay, so let's just pull out our metal and let's just embellish. So I have some gears also from our mechanicals line. And that's the fun part of these pages, right? Embellishing them. So I want to kind of use 3 pieces, and that's kind of my rule when you're doing embellishing. Just pick out 3 that you like, because I'm not using any flowers. And I kind of want to make a visual triangle with them. Oh, look at that one. It's so neat looking. It's just embossed and it's very cool. Let's see. I think I want to tuck part of this under one of the layers. Or maybe put this one up here and tuck this one under. Just to kind of give it a little more interest there. So once I start laying my metals down, I'm just going to go ahead. You know, I really should open these up and add one. Let's get one of these metal tags. These are, I keep forgetting to give Carrie the numbers, 960360. Ripping open new packaging. Who else likes that? I love it too. Oh gosh, I can't get this one open. These are packaged really well. And I have no muscles today. Oh, are these fun? They're really thin. Oh my goodness, you could emboss on these. I bet you could run these through your, with an embossing folder, through your Cricut, or not Cricut, sorry, Sizzix, or your Tim's Cool machine with an embossing folder, because they're thin enough. I bet you could emboss them. So I might stick that on there somewhere. We'll find a place for it. I just love them. I think those need to go on there for sure. And then the last piece of metal I want to add are our tiny junkyard findings. Ingvild Bohm did this line for us, and they are so cool. Maybe you can see these are perfect for guide pages. So I have some already open, and I'm just going to pick out, they're flat and they're falling all over, but there's like a little rivet from jeans and the little wing nut. Isn't that cute? The wing nut you have to put on your boys' pages because they absolutely drive you nuts, and it will just remind you of how cute they are, but they still drive you nuts. So let me just turn this around, and I'm going to pick 3 for the bottom, first of all, to kind of ground the page, and maybe different colors. I really think I need a wing nut on here. But, okay, those three. And then we want to scatter a couple others in there. And I really think I need one more little one up here. Okay, I'm off camera. Sorry. Once I get these set, I will, okay, the wing nut's a little bulkier than I want. Once I get these set, I'll flip the page around and kind of just show you what I'm working on. Oh, this is really cool. Okay, and I'm still gonna find a place for my little tag. We'll get it on there. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just picking out a couple pieces to go on here and there, and I kind of do a dry run. I set everything down, make sure I like it. Then I need to add my alphabets real quick. So what I have for the title, and this is going to pull it all together, I have two alphabets, Fairy Rhymes, which is a light brown, and Sunrise Sunset, which is the dark. And on Braden's, I used both of them. I love how it had the different shades, and it kind of pulled the browns together from the whole page right here at the bottom. So after the metal, we want to put this, and then we'll ground that with those tiny junkyard findings. Okay, so I need to come up with a title for this one, though. I don't want to put the same one on there. You guys got any ideas for a boy? I could just put his name, right? Alright, I'm looking for creative ideas. You guys have been up longer than me. Charmer? Oh, that's cute, Carrie. I like that one, because he certainly is. Okay, and you know what? Let's do, we want to do two different shades, right? Because that's going to pull it all together. So let me get the lighter brown and do Charm with the light brown, and we'll do ER with the dark. Okay, so I'm going to whip this out as fast as I can so we can get to the other page too. So if it's not perfect, forgive me. Johnny is my little sweetheart. He always seemed to have, he's such a hugger, and he doesn't talk a lot, doesn't like to talk, and the last child made up for that, trust me. He's just a very tender-hearted boy, so Charmer is really good. All right. And you know, sometimes when you guys put your letters down, I don't like to spread them out as far. I do like to kind of layer them on top of each other, which I didn't do. I think it just clusters them better. I don't know. And if you notice on the other page, my original, I actually stitched through these, and there is adhesive on them, but don't be afraid to sew on your alphabets, because the worst thing is to go back and have a page where you lost one of your letters. I can't stand that. So I do like to stitch or add extra glue. Hey, I see Barb. Barb, are you the Barb from Superior? If it is, it's so weird. I used to live in northern Wisconsin, and I don't live there now. I live in Kentucky, but I'm from there. And then I meet a lady from Superior that has a scrapbook store. But did I ever... Oh gosh, that's what happens when I'm talking and not paying attention. Just gonna glue everything down now. But it's such a small world. We're gonna see. Yeah, hey, how's the weather in Wisconsin? Okay, that's really mean, because they got snow again up there. You northerners, I feel so bad for you. It's May. It's not supposed to be snowing. My in-laws still live there, and they called me. They want to come down and visit because my kids have been out golfing and stuff, and we have green grass. In fact, my neighbor's mowing the lawn right now. Not sure if you can hear. And these poor people are getting snow and rain and freezing temperatures everywhere. Okay, so here's what I have. We're not totally done, but you kind of get the idea of the layout, right? So those metal pieces really pull things together. And what I think I need to do, what I would do is wherever I have little holes, I would go back and add a little bit of stamping, or let's do a little bit of washi tape and just make sure we got it all filled in. Okay? And let's see. I know we get storms and tornadoes in Kentucky. So I'm happy now, and I'll be whining when the alarms go off this summer. Okay, my last little finishing touch. I took the pinking shears and nipped off just a tiny little bit. Am I on camera? I keep forgetting that my camera's placed a little bit differently this time. So this is just going to add a fun little grungy edge. Kind of make it look like your paper got stuck and it's roughed up. And that's it. Did I forget anything? I probably missed, oh I did. I totally missed the little stars. So I am not done. I knew I was missing something. On the original, let me just set it here. I punched out some little stars and I added these little arrows. And the whole point is to, it pushes your eye to the photo and the title. And they're tiny little pieces of scrap paper. Okay? And the last thing I did was I took a tag and cut it and added the journaling. And that's the rest of the tag is what I used to punch the stars. And up at the very top, I put the date. So let me just get a tag. Just a manila tag. They're like one of my favorite things. And I know I cut it down a little bit. I just buy the really big size and then I cut it to fit. This is going to go at the bottom with a little bit of journaling on it. And then I need one little piece for the top. And what I did is, you guys have these stamps. This is a Smash, and that's a Dear Lizzie. I love them. They have the cutest dates and sayings on there. So let me pick, so I'm just going to stamp the date that we took this picture for Johnny. And we're going to put that at the top. So all I did was I inked it just on the date part, so I'm not getting ink on the saying, and I used the scratched little piece of paper and I stamped the date. And we'll just throw this up here. And what it does is we're just going to create a visual triangle with the manila. Okay? His journaling will go down at the bottom. Okay, my glue. Let's put a little bit of the manila tag at the bottom. And you know what? You journal as much as you want and cut off the rest. So I will, once it's glued on there, I'll just trim it off to fit perfectly with the layout. And then I'll show you those stamps again on the next layout because they're my, oh, I love them. I stamp everything. They have cute little sayings and dates, and they're just great for a guy's page. Alright, so the leftover manila, I have this little star stamp, and it's Fiskars, yes. Stars are great for guys' pages, aren't they? So we want to just stamp a couple little stars, of course. Alright, well, let's just pretend I did that then. And we will, what you want to do is you want to just throw a couple stars on your pages with those triangles. And I don't want to sit and do all of them, but I want to just show you how I did just one or two of these little arrows. I just took some scratch paper and you are just going to cut. an arrow. And what I do is I kind of cheat and just hit, oops, I did that one wrong. Let's start back over here. Want to just kind of cheat and do a diagonal. And that one's a little weird too. In a perfect world, I would cut this perfectly. And then you can just go back and forth with your cutting and cut more and more of these. Okay? And then you're going to just layer those on. Put the arrows where you need your attention. So I put them here, and I put them up here. Okay? And then add some stars on top. And I'm not going to finish because I really want to get to the techniques on the other layout, but that's kind of the basics. Okay? Is that good? Okay. Yeah, I know, Carrie, she just told me I have lots of time and I feel like I'm rushing a little here, but I want to show the fun techniques on the other layout too. So cut your arrows and your little pointers with your extra papers, and then punch a couple stars. Oh, there we go. Now I got my star punch working. I obviously had it locked and didn't know that. So Carrie says don't rush. I have lots of time. I'm like, okay, Mom. So see how cute it is? You're just going to layer those and you'll get a lot of contrast then. And I pop those up with foam. So I'll just do one for you, and then you'll know how to do these. I would probably put 3 or 4 of them on. So let's pop this on foam. And add that right there. And we'll glue a little star on top. I love the star punch for my boys' pages. I have a couple different shaped stars, like small to big, and I use them all the time because they, you know, to do a page without flowers is unique for me. And with 4 boys, you think I would do this a lot more. My little guys don't care if I use flowers as much, but my older ones, ugh, they're like, please, Mom, stop. So, all right, is that okay? So you kind of get the idea. Add some little pointers in there, punch a couple stars out, and then, whoops, and then just finish it up. And let me show you kind of how I do that little thread wad. I put one little dot of glue and I just roll this thread around and hope it gets caught in it. And it's really messy how you do it. It's not supposed to look perfect. And then you have, oh, that one I glued really well. You get your little thread booger, whatever it's called. Okay, any questions on this layout? Let me know. I'm just going to pile everything up and kind of move it so I can get the next one going. But if you have questions, I don't mind showing you any of the products or art mediums or anything. Those metals, you got to get those. The Tiny Junkyard Findings, they are so cool. And Anna's metals from her mechanicals line with the new Sunrise Sunset line are so cool too. Perfect for you, the guys in your life. All right, any questions? Oh yeah, you can connect with your Xbox. My boys do that. Isn't that the coolest thing? All right, this layout, I just showed a peek on my blog. I didn't show the steps because I knew I was doing a lot of it here on the show. But my next one, we're going to jump to my layout about Billy. Now, Billy is my 19-year-old, and he's not into the brown grunge stuff at all. He loves bold, bright colors, and I swear he collects all the bright color shoes he can find. So this, to get this pattern, what I did is I printed out one of his graduation photos from last year, and the graffiti was so cool. So what I would do is pick the colors in your picture and then find pan pastels that match it. I used a lot of orange, blue, and a little bit of green on this one. But you could totally turn this into a girl's page by picking out different colors, or you could go darker with guys if they don't like the bright colors. But it fits a LadyBird line really well. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I did the stenciling and some of the twine work and then the layering for this. This layout actually comes together really quickly. So let me grab all my supplies. We'll move that out of the way. I have a stencil. This is a Donna Downey stencil. It is, I think it's Grungy Chevron is the name of it. Is that right, Carrie? Grungy. It definitely has a bit of grunge in it. It's not a clean chevron. It has these amazing cool splash marks. Isn't that fun? Yep. And then I am going to use a LadyBird paper, and this is Birds of a Feather. It's 845, 445, and I am going to flip the chevron, or the chevron, the tan. Okay, so the back side, somebody wanted to see it. I'm sorry, my camera is zoomed in so it doesn't catch the whole page. But we're going to actually use this tan side. It kind of provides a nice neutral base for us to color on. So let's go ahead and get work. And I am going to try and do this upside down for you. So you have your paper, and the stencil is 12 by 12. It fits really nicely on there. Now, to hold it in place while I'm working, I'm going to take a little bit of my washi tape. This stuff is amazing because it's going to hold your stuff in place, but it's not going to tear your paper. So I will just tape a little bit to hold my stencil to my sheet so I can work without worrying about it moving around. And then you can pull that tape up and use it on your layout. Okay? But the washi tape works so well because it won't rip your paper. It's kind of like an art masking tape. All right, let me just introduce the pan pastels then. These are a fine art medium, and they're not a chalk. They are a pastel in kind of a different format. We're used to the chalks being like a crayon. And I have different shades here. So I thought I could mimic the one I did, or I could try and create a new look. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. And all I'm going to do, they're very nice. I apply them lightest to darkest, and I use a sponge. Now you can use the cosmetic sponges, the wedges that you buy at like Target or Walmart, and you can throw those. I have some of their art sponges, and you can wash these out. So I always like to start with my lightest color and work my way to the darkest. And these blend really well. So if you want to blend 2 or 3 colors together, they're going to just create a beautiful mix for you. And blending on paper with pan pastels is so easy. And you know, a little trick I learned, it's not mine, I read it somewhere. If you do not like the look on paper, you can take a gummy eraser like an art sponge and erase it off. And I did try that, and it really does work. So we don't have to be really picky with this. Let's just get it colored and kind of, I want a lot of the light, and then we'll blend the bold into it. I see already I got the blue in with the orange, and it's making kind of a green. So, okay, so the first color I used, I don't have the color on there, but I know it's, Carrie, it's like an orange tint. Maybe she remembers. And then I have turquoise tint, which I've used a ton of. And we're going to go to bright yellow green. And this one is pretty cool. It's a perfect lime color. Let's just add that in a couple places. And I'm blending it into the light blue. And I think I want it in one more, maybe over here. Okay, that was bright yellow green, which is one of my favorites. Love this one. Okay, I'm going to try this one. I haven't used it. It's Hansa Yellow Shade. I just want to see what it's going to do. Oh, it's a little bit brighter than the last green. Pretty cool. So you should just have fun and pick colors you like. This one is turquoise. Wonderful color. Love it. It's like the perfect shade. So I was going to say, if you're rubbing too much, it's going to, you get those little pieces like that, and you don't need to do that. This is like applying face makeup, and you don't need, you want to be gentle when you're just rub off a little bit and be gentle, and then if you get the extra falling off, the little powdery pieces, you're probably rubbing a little bit too hard. So with this, I am just going to go in and catch some of the areas I missed. And then I'm going to lift up the tape. And that's my tell-all. I'll see how I like it. What do you guys think? I kind of like it. I think it's well distributed, and it's kind of what I was going for. And I'll tell you on camera, this is an orange color. It looks yellow on my camera, and it isn't. It's a orangey peach. And the green is not fluorescent. I knew this. It's hard sometimes to pick up the right colors. But pan pastels are really fun. They're a nice art medium by Color Fan. And they're very, very fun to play with in our canvas and our papers and stuff. Now, this is a pastel. It will rub off, okay? So I wanted to show you today, I have a new product. You have to seal the pan pastel, so you can use any sealer you want that sprays. Hairspray works. But, you know, a lot of times we're scrapbooking inside, and we don't want to smell all that. So this is Spectrafix, and it's an odorless inside spray. Now, I used this in France when I was teaching at Version Scrap, and it was a big hit. So all I'm doing is a really light spray. And this is going to seal the color. And it is warping just a tiny bit, but I know if I dry it, it's going to flatten right back out. This is available in the US, and it is so cool. It has no smell at all, and it has, honestly, it has some kind of a milk base. Okay, whenever your papers warp, just flip them over. There, we're dry and ready to go. So I like to do, instead of one heavy coat, I normally do two really, really light, fine sprays when I seal stuff. But just so we can move quickly, I'm just going to do one. And that should seal the pastels so that you can start working. And it will flatten out. My other paper that I did, my original, is totally flat once it dried and everything. It's totally flat. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we want to go ahead and start building our layers. So we want to create, we want to work with a mat first. And I use this, I love this paper. It reminds me of summertime. The stripe, it's called Lovely. It's in the LadyBird line, and it's 845452. And it's a little bold, but it really, I think it works really well with this. So depending on your photo size. I used a 5x7 picture. Just want to measure that real quick and make sure. Okay, it was 4x6 actually with a border. So we want to cut our mat about 5x7. And again, you're going to customize this to fit your picture. So don't worry so much about the measurements. You want to just cut it a little bit bigger than the picture you're going to use. Okay? And we're going to put that on there, and we're going to use foam squares to bump it up, of course. Foam's going to add a lot of dimension to your layout without it being too bulky. So let's go ahead and look at the cute back side, which you should never do unless you have 2 pieces of this paper. Don't ever look at the back. All right, how are you guys doing? Any questions? Spectrafix is, yeah, it works really well with pencil drawings and pen pastels, chalks. Actually, you can use it just to seal anything. It's just great because you can use it indoors. That's what I love about it. We're just going to set this off center. Okay, and I may have got it crooked. And then we're going to have fun. We're going to take out our LadyBird chipboard. And you get a whole 12x12 sheet of lots of little pop-out pieces. And I know some of them look a little girly, but we're going to pull out the ones that look really good with guys and just layer them and have fun with them. Okay? Any questions on the Spectrafix? I'll show it one more time. It's made in the US and it's a pastel fixative, but you can use it on any art mediums, and it's all natural and it's odor free, and that's why I like it. So it doesn't smell when you spray it indoors. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the chipboard. Love opening new packages. And we're going to pop a couple of these out. Let's see. We want, we're going to do this one. Let me just flip this around real quick. We're going to do this one, and oh my goodness, there are too many to pick from. We'll do that one, and this one. Just pop out the ones you want to play with, and oh yeah, that's a great one. Oh, we got to have one of these scallops. This is one of my favorite shapes. And I think that's enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that what I have? Okay. And then I'm also, once we get the chipboard, we're going to add some stickers that from the same line, so it'll be really fun. Okay, so what I did with this is I just started layering, and my hands are really dirty. I'm not going to put the picture on. We'll do all the techniques, and then you can add your picture later. But basically, we'll start with this right here on the top, and I want to be able to slide my picture under there, so I am only going to glue the bottom on. Okay, if I can get this little, these are self-adhesive, okay? But I am just going to tear off just the bottom part because I want to be able to slide my picture on there later. And let's see, we want to take this one. And you know what, you can do this any way you want. You do not have to do it my way. I just broke my nail that gets the little paper off, of course. So you can layer these however you like them. Let's get this one on. And sometimes when I am putting chipboard on, I like to add a little bit more glue. And it is never going to come off that way. Okay? So we are going to layer these babies. And then this one. Just want to put a little bit of this on. And then I'll slide my picture under later, and it will fit perfectly. All right, and then these two are on top of the photo mat, but we have some we want to pump underneath. We want to get this little guy in the corner. Okay, there we go. Peel it off and we'll get that on there. So do you guys have big plans for today, scrapbooking day? What are you all doing? You are supposed to, Carrie has a question about the Spectrafix. Yes, you should be able to paint and layer on top of it. And I put my foam right where I need to put my little square, of course. So let's just do a little constructive surgery here. Alright, so what I did in this corner, I just created 3 layers. And so you have that one at the bottom, then your mat, this one, and then this one, and the photo will tuck under here because I didn't glue that. So it creates a lot of dimension, and it's just 3 layers. And then we're going to just keep going and keep adding these other 2 pieces and create a chipboard bottom. Okay, any questions, Carrie? I will show the art mediums again at the end, and just got to peel these off. I swear they peel perfectly till you get on a live show and then you can't get them. Alright, so on this one it says flowers. It's really cute, but you know this is for a boy, so we are going to just stick this under here. Let's go right here. Okay, and we won't show the little flower part at all. Same with this one. I actually set it on here so the photo covers up the little graphic, okay? And any of the pieces that you're putting up on the mat, if it's sticking off, which this one will be, I'll show you just how to make sure it stays balanced. We're going to set this here, but this little corner is going to flop, so we'll add some foam just to that corner. And it should stay on there really well then and be really sturdy and firm, so it's not going to fall down on you. Okay, and that's our little corner piece. So we have a whole base with the chipboards, and they're going to be gorgeous once they're finished. Alright, so then what I did is I started adding some stickers. The chipboard is great because it adds a lot of dimension, and but the stickers are fun. So we have the LadyBird sticker sheet, and oh my goodness, there's so many things on here. There are little tabs you can put on mini books, and little banners, of course. These fold over too to create. You can put these on the edge of a page. What I'm going to be playing with is some of these that make little banner flags, and that's what we're going to create next for the page. Let me get these opened up. You guys might have a better way of making the banner flags. I just use a toothpick. So I know they sell little cute little dowels, skinny little dowels, but you know what? I have toothpicks nearby, and we're just going to use that. So we have our toothpick, and let's do, okay, let's do this one. So you just peel it off like that. It's already scored in the center. And what you want to do is set it on your toothpick. Leave a little bit on both sides and just bend it over so that the stickers meet. And that's the tricky part. So I do the ends first and then fold it in. Now I don't like that really sharp point, so I do cut part of that off so it's not quite as dangerous, I guess is the right word. And what we're going to do, we will tie a little bit of twine, and that's going to get stuck up here. Okay, so let me go ahead and tie. I have a little bit of orange twine. You guys love twine. It's great on guys' pages, isn't it? Actually, it's great on everything. Gosh, my hands are so dirty. I'm so sorry. Pan pastels and gesso and everything else I've been using, and it's all layered in ink. Okay, that's it. And what I did is I put Billy's name on that little flag, but you can put anything you want on there. Just use whatever alphabet stickers, and then this tucks right in behind the photo and kind of sticks out there. So that's what I would do. And you know, anytime you're worried about it not having enough dimension or falling down or something, add a bit of foam to the back and it will pop it off the page. Let's get that glued on there. And let's see, where did I have that? Like right here. And of course I knocked off my little twine, didn't I? It totally got stuck to the glue. You can slide that back on there. No one will ever know. Okay. Alright, so there we go with our little banner. How simple was that? And on that sticker sheet, you get 3 of the large ones. There's 2 little banners, and there's multiple other ones you could fold. So it's a really, really cute sticker sheet. And that number is 563493. It's the LadyBird stickers. Okay, so now we want to add a couple more stickers. This one, I'll personalize it later. You guys know how to put a name on, right? Let's add a couple more. Okay, so there's this little sticker right here that folds in half. I want to use it, but I only want half of it. Oops. Okay, well that didn't work so well. Let's get the whole sticker off of there. And we want to just cut part of it off. I really have this thing with not peeling things correctly today, don't I? Okay, don't do what I do. They both say the same thing. So all I'm going to do is stick that right here. All right. And then we're going to add one more little sticker at that bottom, and we're going to stamp on it. So we're going to pick this one up here. That is such a cute sticker. And I did add foam to the back of that one because I want to pop it up just a little bit more. And we want to stamp on it, which I probably should have done first, right? So if you're doing this in real life, stamp on it first and then put your foam. So we want to use one of these sayings. What do you guys like? Oh snap? That sounds like something Billy would say. So let's go ahead and ink that, and I think I used brown ink on this one. And just ink the part you want. Okay, you don't want the date this time. And as a precaution, when you're stamping with these kind of stamps and you don't want this part to show, that's all I do is I kind of hold that over. Okay, so I have my stamp, and this probably will not work now. I'm going to just rub the ink off of there and... Okay, pretend it worked because I went and put it on foam first. I don't even want to show you guys. I am not the best stamper, and you definitely stamp first, okay? We'll just pretend that looks perfect. Okay, but you get the idea. So get some of these roller stamps. They have really fun sayings, and just have fun with your boys. The stickers. Okay, the next one I promised to stamp first. Alright, so we're going to take the really big long one. Carrie, I don't want to read what she's writing because I know she's laughing. Alright, so on this one, let's pick the date. Okay, I keep going between them because I don't know which one I want to use. He graduated in May last year, so somewhere around the 8th. And we want to pick, I love this, today is, okay, we'll do today. I know that's a little boring. Here's how you could stamp correctly. So ink it and make sure your sticker's on a flat surface. Oh gosh, if this doesn't turn on, I'm going to cry. It's okay. I would say practice first, okay? And we're just going to, it's a guy's layout. Billy doesn't care if it's perfect. We're just going to stick this up here and kind of build up a little bit above the banner, all right? And we need a couple more stickers. We need one down here. And let's see, let me just find one, and I'm going to try and redeem myself. Think I can stamp perfectly? I have a lot of pressure now to do so. Okay, let's come up with one more. And what do we want? What is it? Mad Props? Does that sound okay? Alright, let's try this one more time. I'm going my way. Everything's in my favor this time. I'm totally going to look and see where I stuck it. And don't roll it. Okay, that's not bad. For those of you who don't like stamping, look at me. You can do this, okay? Alright, and what we want to do is we just want to stick this down here and just have a little bit of fun with our stickers. Now, one thing I did do is sometimes I like to use just copy paper from, you know, your printer paper. I did do that. I cut just little pieces out here and there and added those on. It's, you know, it's really inexpensive and you can practice stamping better that way and you won't ruin your stickers. And you can just add those on. And I did a triangle with those. Okay? And you can stamp right on our chipboard as this perfect stamp, probably the only perfect one I did, right on there. So you can stamp on the chipboard too. Just use a good ink for glossy surfaces. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to embellish. And I just have just two more things to show you, okay? So we have our Satan crystals, and I love crystals, but honestly for guys' pages, they don't like the swirls and the flowers. So we came out with these hexagon and some more geometric shapes. We have some pointy arrows. These are perfect for the guys' pages, and I love kind of how it mimics the geometric look on the page. So let me go ahead. These are in our lifetime. No, which ones are these? 563608. It has lifetime packaging because we always make our packaging so that you can reuse it. That cute. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I put on 3 of these. And if you're really frugal, do what I did. I cut it in half, and no one's going to know you only used a half of one. Okay? So this one's going to go up here, right here, and that bottom part is going to go right there. Can you guys see that okay? And then we're going to use a little and a larger one for down here. And again, you don't have to use the whole thing, so go ahead and cut them apart. You get a lot more for your money this way. We're just going to use, let's see, how much did I use? On this one, use a little bit more than half. Okay, we'll tuck that in. It'll fit perfectly. And then, let's see, what did I do? I used just the arrow part. So you want to just cut off a little bit of this. Alright, so what I'm going to do is it's going to look like this. And I don't think I used that one. I actually think I used a different one that had the same corner. So I cut that one wrong. But it's okay. If you want the exact same thing I did, let me show you how I should have cut it. Make sure my recording is still going. So what I did is I actually just cut like this. Instead of like that, it was like this. Okay? And I'm going to fix that right now because I want it to look the same way. So here we go. Alright, so that's how you're going to put your crystals on, and I always do 3 spots, of course, so you can get that visual triangle going. We talk about that a lot, and it's really important on your layouts so that the eye moves around, because you spend so much time making these. You want people to see them, right? And to make it as pretty as you can. Well, considering it's a guy's page. So, we're just going to stick these on, and see how easy they totally just peel up and go right on. They're really cool to use. I'm doing this upside down too. Alright, and this one I'm going to do a little sneaky maneuvering and kind of stick it under, pull everything up. Alright, so the last thing we're going to do is just add some twine to the page. And then you have your photo. And that's it. And that page is done. So what I did is I took some of the twine and my tiny attacher, and I just followed the chevron shape, and I stapled it. Okay? And I think I'm going to jump over and stop because Carrie says time's up. So if you have any questions on how to do that twine, let me know. It was so easy. If your stapler does not meet the middle of your page, open it up and staple over a piece of cardboard and then just bend the ends in. That's all I did. Alright. Okay, so this was the page with Billy. I think I'll flip up now. Alright, are you guys still alive? You doing okay? It's really hard to show the whole page, so here I'll show it. I can cover up my head. This was the page with Billy using pan pastels, and we used a sealer called Spectrafix. I'm really having trouble talking today. And I have this linked on my blog, so you can find it if you want to look this up. And then pan pastels we used to color with one of the Prima stencils, the Donna Downey Grunge chevron stencil. Okay? That was the really bright layout. And then my other layout was this layout. Was more of a messy grunge layout. And you know, these are from the LadyBird line, which is kind of a brighter line, but look at the 2 different effects you get with it. Alright? Any questions on either of the pages? You guys are wonderful. Yeah, use your date stamps. So I use 2 different stamps. One is a smash and one is Dear Lizzie. And I kind of collect these. I love these. They add the perfect little touches to your guide pages. Okay, I have a couple announcements to make for you guys. We have classes all day today, so as soon as I'm done, we'll give you a little time to go get a snack. And we're going to pass the baton to Carrie Fennell, who is modding right now. And she is, oh my goodness, she has the cutest mini album and a lot of mixed media techniques. So you're going to want to stick around. That starts in about 30 minutes. And I'm also supposed to announce that we have Spanish classes starting on Live with Prima on Tuesday, May 7th. And you can find all the schedule and stuff on our Prima blog or our Live with Prima Facebook page. Carrie can link you in, right, Carrie? We have a Spanish English speaking gentleman, Frank, who is amazing. He's going to teach the class on Tuesday, and we'll have a moderator who also speaks both languages. I want to mention Art Venture. Prima works so hard to put these events together for you guys, and we have 2 art ventures that are coming up. One is going to be in New Zealand. Nick Howard is heading that up, and our Prima teachers in New Zealand and Australia are going to be there, and they are wonderful. super talented gals. Janine, Trina, Louise, and Nick. I think I got them all. They're all going to be teaching. That one is this fall. I don't have the exact date in my head, right? And then we have a big art venture we're going to put on in California. And that one is going to be in January, and you can find all the details. Again, they're on our blog, and I'm really putting Carrie to work here. I'm hoping she can link to where you can register for the art venture. So I'm in Kentucky. I'm on the East Coast. That's why I started off this morning. Carrie's next. She's in New York. You guys are going to be hopping all over. She'll be doing the next class in New York, and then we're moving the party to the Prima studio. So that's going to be really fun. I want to mention we have prizes on Facebook. So if you are on Facebook, like our Prima marketing page, and we have a prize there to give away. We have a prize on our Prima blog as well. It's prima.typepad.com, so make sure you hop over there. And we have an international blog hop going on that just started in the middle of the night, so our international people could get involved. And there are prizes scattered throughout that. All right, so thank you for joining me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful National Scrapbooking Day. Get Prima and make it part of your day because you're going to have so much more fun. And stick around so that we're going to have our design team and educators joining in on the chat, and they all want to meet you guys, okay? So I want to thank you. I'm going to stop the record, and then I can answer any questions you have.